All right, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for this joint presentation of Building Your Career in Payroll. It is brought to you by Corporate College and Willery. So, to get started, our agenda today, we just tested this, one moment. Our agenda today includes introductions, the goal of the presentation, the Corporate College Pay Train class, building your career in payroll, and the impact of payroll certifications, career opportunities in payroll, finding employment in payroll, and any questions that you have. And for the questions, you can utilize the GoToMeeting control panel, either the chat option or the questions feature. And I am going to hand it over to Bob from Corporate College.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Bob Peterson, and I am the president of Corporate College. And it's my pleasure today to have with me Miss Tammy Downey from Willery. Tammy joined the Willery team as a consultant in 2015. She provides Willery's consulting clients with top-notch HR and payroll consulting, including project management, systems implementation services, and business transformation. She has over 25 years of experience, which includes 15 years at a large financial institution providing payroll, human resources, and systems support. Tammy has her master's degree in project management. Since 2007, she has been a certified payroll professional. She is currently the past president of the Cleveland chapter of the American Payroll Association. And I also have with us today Mr. John Bernadovitz of Willery. John is an entrepreneur with ownership interest in 4 local companies. He founded Willery in 2010. With over 22 years experience within the payroll and HR niche, John is driving Willery into a leadership position within the HR and payroll staffing and consulting space. Willery has achieved Weatherhead 100, North Coast 99, and Inc. 500 status. John was an academic All-American in golf at Kent State University. Married since 1997, John is a lifelong Northeast Ohio resident, has 2 wonderful children, Will and Mallory. Next slide is our goal for today's webinar is to inform the community of pay train classes and share the benefits of getting a payroll certification. So, we're now going to get into the Corporate College Pay Train classes that we'll be offering starting this fall. We're very excited to be offering the Fundamental Payroll Certification class and the Certified Payroll Professional class, or Pay Train Level 1 and Pay Train Level 2. The Pay Train Level 1 course is where you will learn the fundamental payroll calculations and applications necessary for individuals who are new to the payroll industry, those who support the payroll industry, and those who are preparing for the FPC or CPP exams. This program will provide you with the basic knowledge and skills required to maintain payroll compliance and prevent costly penalties. The Payroll Level 1 or Fundamental Payroll Certification course will be offered starting this September at Corporate College East on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Corporate College East is located in Warrensville Heights on Richmond Road at the intersection of I-480 and I-271. The cost of that class is $850, and it's from September 8th through November 3rd. In the winter, we will be offering the FPC Payroll Level 1 course also at our Brunswick University Center, located in Brunswick, Ohio, and Medina County on Route 303. With close access to the I-71 exit. That class will be offered from February 2nd to March 30th from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. as well. The Payroll Level 2 course, or the Certified Payroll Professional course, will be offered also in the winter from February 2nd to April 20th at Corporate College East from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Saturdays. And the cost of that course will be $900. Next, I am going to be turning it over to John, who will be talking about building your career in payroll.
Thank you, Bob. And what a pleasure it is to be here. We're so excited as the president and founder of Willery. It's an amazing opportunity for our firm to partner with Corporate College and Tri-C, and with the main objective of helping grow and promote individuals to experience the amazing things that can happen as a payroll professional. So I, along with my whole team at Willery, is very passionate about the payroll profession. I've been around it my entire career and have seen the positive impact the profession has. It's underappreciated at times, but full of great and passionate people who proudly call payroll their profession. So the interesting part for me is that no one that I've met in payroll has grown up dreaming as a kid or as a graduate from college to be in payroll. They find their way into payroll through a variety of different means, which might be, as I might use the word, voluntold to take on an opportunity in payroll, or there may be turnover in their position and they have applicable skills around attention to detail and good customer service. And so it's interesting for me that once you get into payroll, it's very interesting that you don't leave payroll. So many of the professionals I've worked with over my 20-plus year career, I have found have been incredibly passionate about payroll once you got into it, and find a great satisfaction in the profession, and simply because I think it really is unique in the fact that it's challenging. Every day is different, and your role is terribly important. And as I tell people all too often, not appreciated enough. So for those of you that know a payroll professional, tell them thank you the next time that you see them, because all too often we just assume that our paycheck is in there every other Friday, and it just happens automatically. And that's not the case. There's a lot of idiosyncrasies that go into ensuring that payroll is done properly and timely and effectively. So what I'd like to do over the next few slides is just tell kind of my perspective of how important it is in the process of building your career in payroll. And so this first slide here basically shows a chart of time. And it's important for me to bring this up simply because it's amazing how much time we spend working, right? It's probably the second most thing that we do in our adult life, and besides sleeping. So, and I know some of us might like to sleep more than we like to work, but I think in the respect of the time commitment that you're making in your career, in what you're doing, I think it's imperative that you're passionate about it and that you love to do it. So as you go through developing your career in payroll, I think it is really important to be able to have focus in the things that are important to you. And to me, success in your career requires a few things. It requires focus, it requires clarity, and it requires smart work and eventually hard work. This, coupled with a career plan and the appropriate amount of education and experience, can lead to a successful career in payroll. Then to me, it's about consistency. And I'm not sure how many of you listening right now are Browns fans. I am an avid Browns fan and have enjoyed watching Hard Knocks on HBO. It's kind of strange. I'm not sure if I want the season to start because that means Hard Knocks is over, and I've never had that feeling before. But one of the main things that I hear the coaches at the Browns talk about is accountability and availability. So as you grow your career in payroll, or for that matter, any other area, I think it's terribly important for you to be consistent. That means showing up on time, showing with the same level of professionalism, providing the level of expertise and knowledge and service that you can on a consistent basis. You may not realize it, but many people are paying attention to how you're carrying yourself within your career every day. And simply put, can you be counted on by your employer as it relates to the work and effort that you're putting in? Once you have the consistency down, my suggestion is that you can hone your craft in becoming an expert in your field and validating that amongst the payroll community for your level of HR knowledge happens through your CPP, Certified Payroll Professional, which to me is the equivalent of a CPA in payroll. So those of you who know anyone with a CPA understand the rigor that entails for you to pass. So a CPP is a big deal, a significant certification, and one that's incredibly well respected within the HR and payroll community, as well as then your FPC, so Fundamental Payroll Certificate. In essence, this is your entry point into payroll from a certification perspective. It's for those that maybe don't practice payroll every day but are around it. We commonly see this within companies that provide payroll services and or sales or business development or recruiting professionals that want to become more knowledgeable in payroll. So now I'm going to let Willery's CPP expert, Tammy Downey, share the impact of a payroll certification.
Thanks, John. Good morning, everyone. So why should you get certified in payroll? There is an impact of a payroll certification on your career. First and foremost, it does provide maximum value to your employer. And this is information that if you're hoping to get certified and you would like for your employer to help with the cost of that certification, you can take this information to them to make your case. Even if you're not even if you're not investing the expense in your certification, you are investing a lot of time. I will tell you that I have yet to meet anyone who's taken either of these exams that will tell you it's a piece of cake, because it's not. I tell people all the time, I'm an excellent test taker, and I was sweating through that test. And I didn't take the pay train classes. I took something similar through APA, and I was prepared, and it was still a very difficult exam to take. So basically, with this investment of your time, you're demonstrating to your employer that you're serious about what you do and you want to be able to add value to your organization. And then employers can be confident that you'll keep them in compliance, thus reducing risk and cost. You have to, once you get your certification, you just don't get it and that's it. You have to continue on with your education and recertify every 5 years. So that's kind of a guarantee to your employer that you're going to keep up on your skills and knowledge. It also improves your reputation. Most people who are certified are involved with APA either at the national or the local level. We have some great local chapters here in Ohio. And this increases your networking opportunities like crazy. You have resources at your fingertips, people you can reach out to if you have questions, websites you can go to for information. National APA has all kinds of different avenues to get questions answered or bounce things off of people. And with that, you are a subject matter expert, and people will start to recognize that in you. They'll know that you're a go-to person, because even if you don't know the answer off the top of your head, you have the resources to go to get the answers. People will get to know you that way. And once people get to know you, this is going to provide some opportunities for you. According to Paytech magazine, although it's not a guarantee, it is much more common that a CPP will earn a higher salary than someone who is non-certified with the same skill set. It could result in being pursued by other organizations, especially through your networking opportunities with APA or within the payroll community. Or it could result in promotion opportunities within your own organization. One of the impacts that this has on you personally, or can have on you, is that it will give you the confidence to take on new projects and learn new skills. And with that, you can then either have you have some leverage to go to your management and maybe have your job description reevaluated. Maybe you've taken on a higher degree of responsibility. Also information that you can take with you in your meeting for your performance and comp review. And then with all of this too, as John mentioned before, nobody grows up with the goal of going into payroll as a career. I know I didn't. I fell into it at a pretty young age. And the evolution of your career can be amazing if you take advantage of the opportunities. According to USA Today, certifications in general can increase your earnings potential $5,000 to $20,000 annually. Now, we all know, and I am a huge supporter of education. To me, education is key to everything. And obtaining a degree can further your career and further your earnings potential, but we all know that it takes a substantial amount of time and money, and not everybody has those resources. So a certification is another avenue, or it's an avenue you can go to in addition to your education. Employers these days expect a certain level of knowledge when they're hiring a payroll professional. So there was a time where payroll was really considered an entry-level position. And of course, there are entry-level positions in payroll, but the expectations are a little bit higher in today's world. They're not just wanting someone to come in and process payroll the way they tell you to. And anybody who works in payroll knows that there's more to it than just pressing a button on your computer. They are expecting experienced payroll professionals, or at least knowledgeable payroll professionals, who can come in and help keep the organization in compliance and be able to make decisions on an independent level when it comes to processing pay, processing adjustments, and things like that. And some other examples on how this could benefit you is that you can have a little more flexibility with your work schedule. You can, like I mentioned earlier, take on new projects and learn new skills. If you end up in a situation more or less like I did, where your career kind of evolves into project management, you can increase your earnings potential by another 7%. So we can see here, these are just a few examples of what the earning potential is for a payroll manager, supervisor, a coordinator, administrator, and a payroll clerk. And you can see that the range in salary is pretty wide. It definitely depends on the type of organization that you're with and what your responsibilities are. But I can promise you that more often than not, if you have some kind of certification in payroll, you're going to be a little bit closer to the high end of the range than the low end of the salary. And I can just say that from personal experience because it happened to me. All right.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about a career opportunity within payroll. So I think the first thing is we look for you to have a progression throughout your payroll career. And as far as that, there's a variety of positions that are available to you within the payroll community. So we segmented these into three areas. One is a corporate payroll position, probably what you think most commonly of payroll. So the person within your organization that ensures that every week, every 2 weeks, every semi-monthly, you are properly paid and the taxes are paid to the appropriate agencies, et cetera. So you will see processors, specialists, supervisor, manager, director in corporate payroll positions. The level of the positions really depends upon the complexity of the payroll at the company. So typically very large, complex, multi-level, multinational companies will have directors, potentially a supervisor, and some specialists. The smaller the company, you might just see a processor or a specialist. Then as far as in the service bureau business, this in essence are the companies that serve the payroll community that provide payroll processing. So you commonly might heard of companies like ADP or Paychex or Ultimate or Ceridian. These companies provide services to employers to help them process payroll through their technology as well as provide services. So there are a variety of positions within those service bureaus like sales, service, and implementation. And one of the key points of this, getting a certification in payroll while you're either selling or servicing or implementing payroll systems is credibility. When you go into a new account or work with a customer for the first time, your certification is validation that you have put the time and effort in to become more knowledgeable and an expert in your field. And then lastly is some form of consultant or advisor. So Tammy Downey is a great example of having worked her career through a corporate payroll position. An opportunity came up within our firm, and now she is providing consulting support to customers from an implementation and payroll processing expertise. So we'll see things like payroll tax, compliance, and technology. So as we started this partnership with Corporate College, one of the main things that was stressed to us and why our firm, Willery, has been engaged in this relationship is helping the members and the people that register and take part in the classes to help you find employment in payroll. At the end of the day, the higher education space, in my opinion, has changed from just getting an education to getting that education and it parlaying into a job that can help you take advantage of all the things you learn throughout your college career, so, and the certifications you might have. So here's a couple key points to help you find employment in payroll. So the first one, obviously we're here to talk about payroll certification, so we're going to encourage you to get certified, and it's a really unique way to learn the payroll industry as well as the nuances that go with it. Tammy has mentioned this a couple times. As a matter of fact, I met her at the local APA chapter, and I'm so thankful for us getting to know each other, because now we have a really cool business and employee-employer relationship that's really fun, and we can make a difference with clients. And I would have never known, likely, Tammy, if I hadn't met her at an APA event. There is a chapter in Cleveland that meets regularly in Independence. There's a chapter down in Canton that meets in the Canton area regularly. As far as, hey, so this payroll thing seems pretty cool, or I might be interested in it, but I'm not quite sure how to get involved. One of the main things I recommend to people that want to get into payroll is to offer to be a backup to the person within your payroll that's doing your payroll today at your employer. And I cannot tell you how many times we as a employment agency and staffing firm get calls from clients that say, my payroll person left and I have no one else within the company that knows how to process payroll. So I highly recommend that you offer to be a backup to that person. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to process payroll unless there's a vacation or somebody wins the lottery, but it will hopefully teach you the basic ins and outs of how a corporate payroll is processed. I also would suggest that you inquire about what it would take to secure a payroll job. That can be with the person that's processing payroll at your company. You can use tools like LinkedIn or do online searches for other positions that are available. And you can network with people that you know, maybe in finance and HR. Those are two really closely tied departments that payroll usually connects with. And then lastly, there are recruiting firms. Willery is an industry leader and is focused on placing payroll professionals. There are others that you could potentially connect with if you have relationships there, but we have a really solid understanding of what a payroll career looks like and can advise and direct you as you go through your aspiration of getting into payroll. So next, I want to take just a few moments to go beyond the certification, go beyond the experience. So I'm going to hop on my bandwagon here for a minute. I've been doing this for 20 plus years. Consistently year over year, we place over 200 HR payroll professionals, and I have worked with thousands of people throughout my 20 plus year career in payroll. And so I have a little bit of a sense as to what it takes to have an effective and fruitful career in payroll. And it may sound contrary to today's topic, but the degrees and certifications are not the most important thing in having a successful career in payroll. As a matter of fact, it's not necessarily the thing that makes a successful career in any passionate area or industry career that you want to head into. It just isn't, in my opinion. What is important is making an impact on your company and the people by which you interact with. So over the next few moments, I just want to take and give you an idea of what I think it takes to positively impact your employer, which then, as a result, will provide opportunities for you by being impactful to them and helping either their bottom line or the retention of their employees. So this is all about, to me, impact, right? And all too often, I think sometimes candidates and professionals don't think of things this way. We can be at times, and I know myself, I am this way, we can be selfish. What's in it for me is the approach that we take when we look at many things. But if we take how can I serve my employer and how can I serve the well-being of the people that I work with, it is amazing the fruits of those labors that can change. So the first thing I want to make sure that we talk through is saving money. Many of you who work for corporate organizations understand the importance of either driving in revenue or helping to manage and control expenditures. So you can do this in a variety of ways, and tax abatements are one of them. Let's say your payroll department gets a call from the IRS about some questions about a tax penalty. There are ways that effective payroll professionals can help to ensure that those taxes can be abated or drastically reduced. I also encourage you to be efficient. So you do so in being efficient by improving processes and ensuring that you have a level of compliance around federal, state, and local tax compliance. In addition to that, you can also ensure that you're accurate. By being accurate, you minimize the errors that take place within payroll. When you make an error and you get someone's pay wrong, you just can't forget about that and move on. You have to correct and remedy the issue as it relates to the incorrect payment. And all too often, and it's pretty ironic, if you're in payroll, you'll hear about all the errors you make that impact a person negatively. You not necessarily will hear about all the errors you make that positively impact someone. So both those negatively impact and positively impact errors to an employee cost a company money. So being accurate is incredibly important. You can also, through great customer service, you can improve the retention of the employees at your company. I mentioned this earlier. It is assumed that people will get paid accurately on every payroll frequency. It's just an assumption. And so doing it in a way to ensure that you do that, but if by chance you make a mistake, how you handle that mistake is incredibly important. If you do it in a way with a high level of service, then normally it is a non-issue. If you point the finger and blame everyone else but yourself as it relates to why that error took place, then sometimes that employee may not have a great experience and could potentially question why they're working for that company. I also would encourage you to create contingency plans and mitigate staffing issues by documenting processes. All too often we hear from employers that say someone within our payroll department is leaving. They knew everything about how our payroll was processed, and they're leaving within a week, and I don't have anyone inside of the company that knows how to do this. That is a tremendous risk. Imagine as a CEO or as a CFO or a senior leader not paying 200 employees on payroll date. You will have a major mess on your hands. So the assumption of getting it right and getting it done accurately, there's a reason for it. People put in their time and work to get paid. That's one of the main reasons why they're there, and we want to make sure that it happens effectively. In the event that you have that really people dependent and don't have appropriately documented processes, then you can have a negative impact on your company. And then the last one around helping you save money is leveraging what we call HCM systems. So that's human capital management. That's all things payroll and HR. Benefits is included in that, compensation, time and attendance, performance management, and a variety of other areas. So technology leveraged appropriately can make a payroll professional's career much simpler. And it could get you closer to that point, pressing a button to ensure payroll is processed. So if you have manual processes, if you have things that are really people dependent in payroll, sometimes that can take longer and can create more risk. Some of the systems that are out there today have a tremendous amount of capabilities and can have such a unique and positive impact on your company. The next segment is really about mindset, in my opinion. So this can transcend just payroll. So first and foremost, I encourage you to be a problem solver not a problem causer. And if you sit there and think about experiences you've had with both, you understand the positive impact of being around someone that solves problems as opposed to someone that causes them. In addition to that, I would highly recommend that you have what I call have a can-do or how-to mentality versus a no way, I can't get that done. All too often we'll get the no way when it requires additional effort and time and energy from someone. Doesn't necessarily mean it can't be done, just may mean that this particular individual isn't as interested in figuring out how to do it. The next is around being acquisitive. So as many of you might have read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, seek first to understand, then to be understood. So anytime you have an issue with an employee or something that comes up within your organization, I highly encourage you to make the appropriate number of questions or ask the appropriate number of questions so that you can understand what's going on and remedy it in a timely manner and efficient manner. Next is around surveys. So I highly would encourage you to ask. These can be formal or informal. So you could use tools to capture data from your employee population or just simply walk around your office or ask others for feedback as it relates to how you're doing. So you can get that from your colleagues, your team, employees within your organization, peers, family, friends. We are big at our firm about seeking feedback, asking for it, making it safe to share, so that and when it is shared, it's really important to be appreciative of the constructive input that the person was willing to share with you. Next is figuring out a way to stand up. Now, I would not necessarily tell you to stand on your head while you're processing payroll, although that probably would be very unique. Eventually, that might not feel that great, but I would encourage you to stand out in a good way. And one of the ways that I try to do this within our organization is I personally sign the back of the envelope of every one of the W-2s that's sent out to our employees. We get an electronic copy of it as well, but we also distribute paper-based W-2s to all of our employees, and I cannot tell you how often I get people making a comment to me of how cool that was to have that note and how much they appreciate the small token of time that I put in there to say thank you to them for their time and attention and effort. And the W-2 is really how'd I do this year from an earnings perspective within our firm, and it's a big deal to me, and I just want to appreciate people for what they do. The next thing to do is to walk the walk and don't talk the talk. So take action in issues that you have. One of the main things that I encourage my entire team to do and any other professional is if you have an issue, think through the issue, try to come up with a game plan, and then go to your peers or your boss with what you think might be a solution to that plan. Just don't come to him or her with, I've got a problem, and really haven't thought through what a potential solution should be. So I highly encourage you to walk the walk and don't talk the talk. And then one of the last points here on mindset is getting along with people. And I will tell you, I've worked for 3 employers in my career, and the first employer I worked for was a large payroll company. And I had so many great experiences within that organization. But frankly, the thing I miss the most is the interactions with the people. And I've continued to have great relationships with many people within that organization still after having been gone for almost 10 years. And it just is amazing when you're able to work together closely with people. That's what this really is all about. So why do I say all of this as it relates to you potentially progressing your career, whether it be in payroll or some other form, is because I believe in my heart of heart it makes a difference. There's a stat out there that says 2/3 of promotions and advancements are based upon interpersonal skills, which are defined here, which is basically your ability to interact with people. So it doesn't have to do as much with your certification and your education level. It has to do with a combination of your experiences, your certifications, your willingness to do things, as well as your ability to get along with and communicate effectively with people. And a big part of that is emotional intelligence. And we could have a whole nother webinar on just this topic alone, but this is your ability to effectively manage your own emotions in a positive way that ends up relieving stress, allows you to communicate effectively, empathize with others, and overcome and diffuse conflict. And it is really impactful when you're mindful of how you react to things. This is one of the few things that we can train our brain to do differently. And it takes time, effort, education, self-reflection, and just self-awareness to be able to make an impactful change from an emotional intelligence standpoint. And so lastly, I'll give a plug. I'm pretty sure my parents are on this webinar right now, or if not, my mom and dad will hear it. I love them dearly and appreciate them. And my mom has always been a big proponent that love heals all wounds. So I would encourage you to find a job that you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. And as a result of that, if you love what you do, you love who you work for, and you love who you work with, you will have an incredible career, whether it be in payroll, HR, education, or whatever the case might be. In my opinion, being compassionate, caring for people, caring about what you do, and having a big heart can make a tremendous impact in your career. So I'll go ahead and let Bridget wrap things up, and appreciate everyone's time and attention this morning.
All right, so we do have a couple questions. The first one being, how would this course impact the quality of my work?
Well, I have yet to meet anybody who's taken this course, and I'm talking about people who've been in payroll for 20 years, who didn't learn new things, or who didn't take a step back and say, wow, we haven't been doing that the right way all this time, or wow, I didn't know we had to be in compliance with that. And so I do think that you will take away a great deal of knowledge, aside from the fact that, you know, you'll be with other people that you're talking with, that you can kind of bounce things off of how to better process something, or how to better handle a certain situation. And so I would say probably in 100% of the cases, that's just my guess, based on what I know, but I would say in 100% of the cases, you would walk away with at least one or two new things that you can apply on your job.
All right, and this is almost a follow-up to that, but how can this program help me earn respect in my organization?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that one. So we as a staffing firm, one of the things we look for is certifications, along with experience, along with fit within the organization. And so in my opinion, it's validation. At the same time, it is a boost to your professional career. So Tammy had mentioned it before, that obviously you're making a commitment both financially and with your time to go through the course, and then passing that exam is incredibly gratifying. It is a really significant sense of accomplishment, as well as whenever we're at the local APA chapter, they do a fantastic job of recognizing people within the chapter that have newly earned their certification. And it is the biggest round of applause that you'll hear throughout the course of those meetings, because everybody in that room who has it understands what it takes to get it.
And then what's more valuable for a newer payroll professional, experience or certification?
That's the chicken and the egg question. That's a good one. Yeah, so this is what I would say. If you can get the experience, like the example that I gave of maybe shadowing someone within your organization that's doing payroll, I think experience brings a tremendous amount of value and knowledge base to a professional. So if I had to pick one and you forced me, I would say experience with certification right behind it. The certification, if you can't get that experience level, or you're looking to take your career to the next level because you've done payroll and you want to have this certification, the certification, for the reasons we just mentioned previously, it can increase your pay level. It can increase your obviously credentialing and knowledge base within payroll, and it gives you credibility within the community of payroll and HR and the other folks that you're interacting with. It's no small feat, and so excited that Corporate College has made a commitment to bring these pay train classes back, and we're so excited to be a small part in helping to spread the word on it, as well as encouraging people to take part in the class. And I think Bridget's going to share a little bit about what we're doing as it relates to some scholarships that are available.
Great, yeah, so that was our last question, and since John started mentioning registering the class, to register, go to corporatecollege.com/paytrain, and that will provide you with all the information needed to register. But we also wanted to share that Willery, as part of this partnership, is offering 5 $200 scholarships. It's a great opportunity to help get your foot in the door of this program. And to do that, visit willery.com/scholarship, and it will ask you a few questions, including what you plan to do with the certification and what it means to your career. All right, so just to wrap everything up, the contact info for today's session and webinar and the program. If you would like to learn more from the corporate college side, please email Suzanne Ortiz at tric.edu, and her phone number is on the screen as well. And then John from Willery is open to all your questions and any follow-up you have, and you can email him, john@willery.com, and that's WILLLORY.com. And that wraps up our webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.